All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free 800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our main website is xzoneradiotv.com. You know, last night after I went off air, I figured, okay, I've got about an hour before I can, you know, the eclipse starts. I'm going to bring up my small telescope. I've got my cameras, the tripod, everything ready to go outside. And as I look outside, overcast. Oh, no. That's nothing, Exo Nation. Yesterday, it was 72 degrees outside. My goodness, we were putting the lawn furniture out, bustling around, raking the lawn, you know, and this morning I got up as if the overcast at 2 o'clock this morning wasn't bad enough. There was snow on the ground. We went from 72 degrees to minus 6 degrees. Now let me know. Let's see. I'm taking Fahrenheit and Celsius here. We went from 72 degrees to 29 degrees. But still, that's one heck of a conversion. It seems that this world is going to hell in a handbasket. Well, maybe my guest this hour can help us put some sensibility back into the equation. Peter Kling is my guest this hour, good friend of the X Zone. He began his Bible education at the age of 5 and really never stopped. Now, as he trained to become a scientist, he began to discover answers to many of his biblical questions. He is now working on a follow-up book that will explore humanity's connection with a higher power and the spiritual world. He lives in Milford, Pennsylvania, and has been in several different editions of Who's Who throughout his educative and professional life. Joining me now is Peter Kling. And Peter, what in the name of Sam Heck is going on these days?
It's all normal, Rob. Go back to sleep. Everything's fine.
Okay, wake me up when it's over.
Oh, that's what they would have us to believe. Indeed, we live in the most fantastic time ever in history. As a matter of fact, this time will not be repeated. You know, they say history repeats itself. Mm-hmm. This is the last time history is going to repeat itself. We live in a world that is ruled by maniacal idiots that expend life like they put out a cigarette. You know, it's crushed the masses. And so they lie to us. Everything that they turn around and tell us isn't true. And you look at the news and it's like, come on, seriously?
Exactly.
Is this being produced for us out of Hollywood? Where is Flight 370?
You know,
I don't know. Go ask Rolls-Royce. They keep track of their engines 24/7 when they're running.
You know,
they can tell you exactly where those engines are.
I used to be a big fan of CNN. I really thought that they were the cat's meow when it came to broadcasting. But I've got to tell you something, Peter. Over the last 5 weeks with this Flight 370, day in, day out reporting on same old, and when Flight 70, after 5 weeks, gets more attention than 3 people getting killed in a Jewish retirement home, or when Flight 370, after 5 weeks, gets more coverage than what's happening in the Ukraine, something is desperately wrong.
You know, for a year and a few months, we were told that we were going to see the most fantastic comet ever, a once-in-a-civilization's lifetime event. And you know what we got instead? The 10 days of Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
What happened to Comet Ison?
I don't know, my friend.
It evaporated literally before our eyes. I was sitting there watching the feeds coming off of NASA's every feed that I could get. You want to talk about clogged servers? I bet you NASA's servers on the SOHO telescopes crashed all night long because if you ever once you backed out and tried to get back in, not available.
Forget it.
Not
yeah.
available. Could not get it. Yeah, but I watched it, and I watched the trajectory of ISON coming out the back side of the sun, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's off trajectory. What's going on here? And then it vanished, and NASA said, well, we don't know what happened to it. But that's okay, folks. We got the 10 days of Nelson Mandela, the man who died twice. His first death was recorded June 26th of 2013, and his second death, December 5th. And the whole world was focused on that situation in South Africa, where we had essentially all the world leaders that were who was anybody went to South Africa to go speak.
Hey, Peter, we've got to take our first break. Please stand by, my friend. Exo Nation,
Sure,
the one and only
absolutely.
Peter Kling is our very special guest. www.peterkling.com. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute break. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, a guiding light spelled LITE.com to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Exonation, Peter Kling is my special guest of this hour, www.peterkling.com. And Peter, it seems that the news isn't really the news. The news is what corporate America, who may own most of the news media outlets, wants the news to be. And unfortunately, in today's society, it's if it don't bleed, it don't lead. Why are we being kept in the dark, and why do people think we should be treated like sheep?
Because we can't handle the truth, maybe?
Oh, come on. Do they really, do the powers to be, or the hidden powers, or the masters behind the puppets, really believe that they can keep on pulling the wool over the eyes of society that we really haven't caught on yet?
Yeah, they actually do. And for the most case, they are succeeding. Now, you know, we have all these strange things going on, but a lot of people, you know, saw what happened last night. I went out. Unfortunately, I ran into the same situation you did, Rob. I looked up, and the skies were getting cloudier as the night progressed, and by the time the lunar eclipse came around, I couldn't see squat. There was just clouds, and it was darker than normal. You couldn't even make out whereabouts the moon was. But here's the interesting thing about this. This lunar eclipse that we had last night is actually referred to as a blood moon. And that's the typical what the moon looks like during a full lunar eclipse. There are 4 of them. It's actually the tetrad blood moons, and they coincide, interestingly enough, with several prophecies in the Bible.
Really?
There are actually 6 prophecies in the Bible which talk about the moon being turned to blood and the sun not giving its light, or the sun being turned to darkness.
Okay.
Now, the first record of the sun being turned to darkness, interestingly enough, is the 9th plague of Exodus. God tells Moses, "Hey, Moses, raise your arms and command the sun to become darkened." And Moses does that. And here's a little interesting side note. Moses raises his arms, commands the sun to be darkened. The sun goes away for 3 days. The account in Exodus says that all of Upper Egypt was in the dark, but Lower Egypt, which was the land of Goshen, that the Israelites had illumination in their homes. Interestingly enough, the lower section of Egypt, Lower Egypt, is where the Great Pyramid of Giza is. Could the Great Pyramid of Giza been transmitting some sort of electrical beam lighting up the homes of the Israelis in that part of Egypt? That's an interesting question now, isn't it?
It certainly is.
The Bible says that their homes were illuminated while Upper Egypt groped in darkness. Now, Upper Egypt was where they were reigning from, and that is pretty much where the power of Egypt sat. But it's in Lower Egypt where the Great Pyramid is. So here we are, you know, that was the 9th plague. When you go to Revelation, Revelation has a really interesting comment about the moon being turned to blood. I'll paraphrase it here for the sake of time. It's Revelation, the 6th chapter, the 12th through the 17th verse. It starts off, John sees a great earthquake that occurs, shakes the earth. And he says that the moon was turned to blood and the sun became as sackcloth of hair, and that the stars fell from the heavens like when figs are shaken off, unripe figs shaken off of a fig tree in a wind. He said that the mountain groups and the mountains and the island groups themselves were removed, and that the heavens were rolled up like a scroll. You know, if you're looking at the words of a scroll and you start rolling it up, they just disappear.
That's right, yeah.
So it sounds like John is seeing something massive coming between us and the rest of what we are seeing in the sky. Could this be the Nibiru event? Could this be why the Vatican built the largest infrared telescope in the world, Lucifer? makes you wonder. When you go on and read the account, it says that the kings of the world